Well, hello there. Spooky intro. I'm not good at being spooky. I like all things spooky. I'm not good. Oh, not good at being spooky. But welcome to the second installment of my Halloween series. Um, this episode we're gonna kind of mirror the first episode. So where we went in previous episode, we will go there again and look at the little scenes that I have built to go with our giant friends. So, let's get started. So, we started last episode with the Ender Friender Slenderman. And I built the Slenderman a miniature forest. You could make like an end forest or do like a unique take on an end forest if you wanted to for an Enderman. But I kind of wanted these guys to stand alone. However, I did make a really cool pumpkin patch for our jack-o'-lantern. So let's have a look-see. This is kind of a combination of three things. One is an actual pumpkin patch with pumpkins that have grown out of the ground, or haven't in this case. I guess it's because I didn't put dirt around it. Oops. Um, and then there's some pumpkins that I've placed, and some jack-o'-lanterns as well. And then there's the big giant pumpkins that I made, and they're pretty simple. They're just smooth red sandstone and smooth red sandstone stairs and a flower pot, and that's it. And I futzed around with the ground, mostly browns and path blocks. And I put buttons on top of all of the pumpkins because I like that better as a stem. It's got more depth to it and it's not as flat. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I also created like a little table with some chairs. This would be where the families would purchase their pumpkins from the pumpkin patch. And they have some carved pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns to display how artfully you can create a decoration with their products. And then also a cart full of pumpkins, because it had to get here somehow. So, and I also did some banners. This is a really simple way to just, like, you know how, if you live in, like, suburbia, some families will just kind of throw up something on the side of their house and be like, look, we decorated. There it is. It's a witch or something. I don't know. There it is. This is a really easy way to do pretty much that, but in Minecraft, is to get yourself some purple and orange banners. Just stick them everywhere. So that's why this has this fancy banner all around it. It's so fancy. Really simple. Then I made a maze. Traditionally, these are done with corn. Corn mazes. We don't have corn in Minecraft, at least not yet, unless you have a very fancy texture pack. So I decided to make it out of hay bales, because there's hay bales everywhere in autumn. So it is actually a functioning maze. I could attempt to go through it if I wanted to. And then in the dead ends, I stuck spider webs and mob heads. I think there's some jack-o'-lanterns and some flower pots with, like wither roses, I think. Did I do that? Did I do that or did I dream it? There's a fern. Maybe I dreamt that. I don't know. But there's stuff in the dead ends so that you can get really, really annoyed. And, again, brown for the floor. This is all kind of harvest colors, I suppose. And then along our pathways, I have some interesting details. We have corals and spider webs. And then I have some... This is a really cool idea for Halloween stuff. It's just a composter with stuff in it. But it looks gross. Like, that looks like it's stew with bones in it or something. Ick. And then I have some other ones. This also looks like some sort of bony conglomeration of tissue and blood and gross, so, you know, that's fun. So, these you can kind of scatter about and make it look like somebody somewhere is cooking people or something. I don't know. Spooky. And where do we go next? We went and explored the giant candy. I don't really know how you could make a small scene for candy other than like having a trick-or-treat neighborhood sort of thing. But if you come up with something, tweet it at me. Send me a picture on Instagram or something. But as far as I know, your best bet is to just scatter large candy around. But I did build something for Frankenstein. Hi, Frankenstein. Alright, so let's head on down here. Oh, also for the path for this guy, it's just mossy, cracked, and stairs of stone brick and some andesite. That's all it is. It's just to make it look dilapidated and old. Because old is spooky. For some reason. If we go down here, I have created Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory. Oh, thank you, Minecraft. This is the one time I want a spooky cave noise. How nice was that? I hope you guys could hear that. But we have some weird, mystical, glowing Iscalium tubes, because science. We have, I don't really know what I was going for here other than, like, a body that's maybe being sustained by a tube or something. And then some shelves with some freaky or mysterious objects, you know. And then we have actual Frankenstein here, and you could do this on a bigger scale and really detail it out, but I wanted to kind of do a smaller scale for this. But like this looks kind of like a syringe with like some green gunk in it and then a needle. Ugh. Don't stick green stuff in me, please. No thank you. We have a grind wheel for grinding off limbs. We have a saw attached to the ceiling. We've got, I don't know what that is, but it's scary looking. We have a shelf with all kinds of things. And then you could integrate this probably better than I did, but you could really do some spooky stuff with this guy. And then for Frankenstein, I just, or Frankenstein's monster, excuse me. I gave him a zombie head and some green bits, so he's all in pieces. And for when the doctor is doing research and looking up historical evidences, he has his office? Library? Something? I don't know. But again, some spooky items. And we have some spooky plants. You know, that sort of stuff. And I also just scattered about turtle eggs, just because I thought they might look like something growing in here. And you could also like go nuts with fungus and corals and stuff. I just decided to go nuts with turtle eggs. Why not? On to the next. The next being a spooky graveyard. Ooh. I like the idea of these guys being an entrance into a graveyard, because this is what you would find there, potentially. But if we walk in here, we have some intimidating iron gates and a weird wall. We have a pathway that's cracked, stone, brick, cobble, and gravel, I think, is all I have in the pathway. And that's just to make it look beat up and old. And then for the actual ground, it's mostly coarse dirt with some other stuff thrown in. And then where the graves are, that's where you get the black and brown stained clay and soul sand. And I think I have some carpets around, because some of them hide light and some of them don't. But you can do a couple things with tombstones. You can go really, really simple, or you can go pretty ornate. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. And then I have a few ideas for what you could do in the graves, because some of them, of course, have to be dug out. It's Halloween. That's how that works. So Um, this one has a chest in it. Chests do kind of look like coffins when you're up here. So that kind of works out really well. And you can stick bones or treasure or whatever. And then I have a ghost. He's come out to play on All Hallows Eve. And he has a spooky face and he's see-through. Kind of. He's a little janky, but I couldn't really figure out how to make a ghost that looked good without him being massive. And I didn't want to build a massive ghost this year. Maybe I will next year. But there he is. He's a little guy. This one is just got nothing in it. It's already been taken out. You can't have it. It's gone. I also have this ghost who has no face and is just white. Preference thing. I actually think I like the ghosts without faces better. Just for that, like, eerie, ethereal feel. But if you're going for creepy and angry, that dude's angry. Let's see. Do I have anything over here? This one's been... Nope, nothing's been dug out here. Except for that. Fix that. Okay. We go this way. I have a spooky tree that's dead. It'll probably come back in the spring, but shh, don't tell anybody. I also thought it would be cool to put banners on it, so those could either look like creepy, tattered sheets that are blowing in the wind, or it could look like somebody TP'd this poor tree. Which, I've never actually seen a house get TP'd around Halloween, but, like, that's a thing, right? Is that a thing? Was that a thing when our parents were young? Is that why that was... Because I get the feeling most of our parents were not nice children. That's the impression I get from my parents, is that I've been a much nicer child than they ever were. Also, do houses get egged on Halloween? Does that still happen? Or is that an old people thing too? This one's pretty ornate. This guy's got flowers. And then I have this guy dug out, and he's got no coffin. His coffin has disintegrated and he is just bones. But something cool I did do is I kind of made a shovel. Kind of. It's an anvil with iron rods, and if you surround it by dirt, you can't, well, I mean, you can tell it's an anvil, but not really. Sort of. Shush. It's a shovel. Shush. And, you know, just kind of go nuts with the differencing in, tombstones. Because if you guys, I'm sure some of you have been to graveyards. If you guys haven't been to a graveyard, you're really young. But, they're all different when you go to a graveyard. Every single headstone is different. Here's a coffin with a guy in it. That kind of, we'll see more of that coffin design later, I think. And then I decided to go really ornate. This was like the founder of the town, or just a really rich guy who has, one of these above ground coffins that's really neat, and he has a big ol' angel. And I made the angel creepy by giving it a black beacon. Or at least that's what I'm going with. I don't know. But that is our spooky, scary graveyard. Woo! Comes with ghosts. And I believe that's all that I did around here. I think we're good to head on over to the other side of my little Halloween hamlet. And we're actually gonna go check out the cauldron first, because what's behind Dracula over there is actually my favorite thing. So we're gonna go hang out with the witches, go check out what's going on in the coven. As we go, I did a little bit these mushrooms weren't as prevalent before. They've taken over. There were just a few mushrooms, now there are many. But I decided that cauldrons can kind of be a little boring, primarily because it's just blue. So, I made some fake cauldrons with some witch's brew. And these are coral blocks, and there's water underneath. So that way they're still alive and cool. Although, if you let them die and had it be gray, That would also look really cool. And this one has water in it, but it also has some wiggly seagrass. So it's all, you know, alive. So, you know, spooky. When things that are not alive seem to be alive, it's spooky. So, you know. Let's go check out the big cauldron. Oh, wait, before we do, along my pathway here, I also have a witch's broom. It's so simple and silly and boxy, but I love it. That couldn't fly anywhere. Not fooling anybody. I gave them some weird, spooky walls. Definitely weird. But let's go on in. Woohoo! Minecraft approves. So for in here, I decided to go with ways that you could make something kind of witchy looking. There is fire all underneath this place, and the sound's gonna drive me nuts. Again, we have more fake cauldrons filled with things that you could potentially see as ooky and spooky, like a slime block or a mushroom block, which looks more like stew, actually. If you just want a regular kitchen but you want it to have stew cooking, there you go. These guys are mysterious and cool. Are my particles turned off too? Oh, they only have spooky letters if you surround them by bookshelves. Oh. Surround this guy with bookshelves, because that'll look cool. But I think that because these follow you around, they could potentially be really eerie. Also, because... Oh, book! I love Hocus Pocus. It's such a good movie. So I have a wall full of spooky ingredients. We have mushrooms and prismarine shards, I think. We have stews and membranes and eyeballs and all sorts of creepy stuff. Over here, it's gotten a little overgrown, a little bit, and we have some potions a-brewing. Here's another shelf with ingredients if you would like to go more on like the flower pot angle as opposed to the item frame angle. Or you could do both. And then this is a sponge. It's a little vibrant, but it does have a cool texture. You know, am I stuck on a... Oh, I was stuck... I was stuck in a spider web. Here we have more of the dark, she lives in a cabin out in the woods and eats people sort of witch. Again, a shelf with dead things, and it's a little overgrown. And there's some jam on the floor. Yeah. And then this, I went for like that real earthy witch that's always hanging out with plants and growing stuff. Sort of feel. It kind of depends on what kind of storyline you're pushing, or you know, if you have a favorite witch in a movie, what would she have potentially? But here's some, you know, decorative ideas for if you decide to make a witch's hut or a witch's tower sort of thing. And now to my favorite part. Hi friend. Before we go in there, let's have a look-see at the outside decorations. Again, vampires, real bloody guys, turns out. So, lots of red in the bins out front. But let's go on in. We got some a spooky corridor that's real. Looks kind of like you're wandering through someone's ribcage. Kind of, you know. And then I built the interior. I didn't build the exterior, but I built the interior of a spooky cathedral. Ooh. And I wanted this to be kind of like where all of the vampires go to sleep and not be disturbed. So you would have head honcho Dracula or whomever with his cross above him. And yes, I realize there's, you know, all kinds of different vampire lores on whether or not they would be able to handle crosses or stakes or whatever. If you subscribe to the lore that you like, I just make things look cool. But, this is all stairs and trapdoors and a bed, is all this guy is. But we have some smaller, coffins. We got this guy. He's a 3 long one. The stair at the top. We got this guy, which looks a little bit like an outhouse, I know. But it could also be a coffin that is standing up. And I've made a banner that's supposed to look like a bed. You can mix and match your trapdoors for your desired effect. Thought I had gotten off of him. I guess I hadn't. There we go. Nope. Oh, that's why. Interesting. Weird things go on in my hotbar when I don't have it turned on. We got another standing up guy, but this time it's dark oak. And, I mean, if you want to, you can keep them closed, you can keep them open. I guess it would depend on whether or not your vampires are out and about this, fine evening. I have a larger coffin over here. And this one's a little bit of a harder sell. The idea is that the lid is just barely sneaking up. But this means that it's a massive coffin. So, this vampire might be a bit of a heavy set fella. But, you know, it kind of depends on, how detailed you want to get. I think this guy is my favorite for being, like, a larger, detailed coffin. He just looks spooky. And then out the window, we have a giant cathedral window. We have that out there, you know, just hanging out with some heads on spikes. I wanted this for the vampire area specifically because of the connections between Dracula and Vlad the Impaler. And if we go back out this way, again, I didn't do the exterior of this, so don't look. I really like the combination of bright red blocks next to path blocks. It's unnerving feeling to me. And then, the spikes are nether brick walls, nether brick fences? Or are these dark oak fences? I mean, either work. Iron bars, and then just some heads. And not all of them have heads. And I prefer to just put heads on spikes rather than try to recreate what Vlad the Impaler actually did. It just seems easier, you know? Easier and a little less gruesome. But, I like the feel of this place. Just this kind of saturated with red, dark and eerie, but also kind of ornate. They have red banners, because why not? The floor in here is brown-stained terracotta and, nether brick, and then I gave some of that red nether brick to give it some detail on the floor. So yeah. Next episode of the Halloween series is actually going to be kind of a different one. The next episode of the Halloween series isn't going to be a tour, because I think I've shown you pretty much everything over here. The next episode is actually going to be how to spookify your pre-existing Minecraft house. So if you don't want to create a Halloween area in your world, which that's a lot of work, I don't blame you, but you kind of want to spookify something just, you know, for festivity's sake, then next episode's going to be for you. We're also going to cover some Halloween / autumn color palettes to use. Because as you guys know, I'm a color junkie, so I had to do it. And I'm really excited to show you what ideas I have. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. So go ahead and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. If you use any of these ideas or you take them and spin them around for your own stuff, send me pictures. I want to see. I'm so excited. Do stuff. It's cool. So give me a like if you thought this was fun and silly and spooky. Spooky. And subscribe because next episode's coming out soon, y'all, and I might have some more ooky spooky stuff up my sleeve. We shall see. So, subscribe so you don't miss it, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. Ooh. Ooh. Ugh.